The lights are blinding. The pressure is suffocating. And the world is watching. Cincinnati, Ohio, the final battleground before the U.S. Open, where champions are forged and pretenders are exposed. And standing in the crosshairs of history is a 21-year-old from Quezon City who has already done the impossible. Alexandra Eala has arrived in Cincinnati as the number 17 seed, her highest seeding ever in a WTA 1000 event, after a monumental rise that has stunned the tennis establishment. She has earned a first-round bye, a privilege reserved for the sport's elite, and her opening opponent will be determined during the official draw. But the road to glory is paved with ghosts, and one ghost has been waiting for her. Alycia Parks, the American who, just months ago at the Australian Open, inflicted one of the most painful defeats of Eala's career, a match where Eala won the first set 6-love, only to lose the next two and crash out in the first round. The kind of loss that haunts you. The kind of loss that defines a season. Now, after exorcising that demon in Toronto with a revenge-fueled victory, Eala arrives in Cincinnati riding a 7-match winning streak, the longest of her professional career and, at the time, the longest active streak on the WTA Tour. She is playing with the confidence of a champion, the support of a nation behind her, and the fire of a young woman who has learned that talent alone is never enough. But the Cincinnati Open is a new battlefield. Fresh off a grueling round of 16 finish in Toronto, where her campaign ended with a loss to former Olympic champion Belinda Bencic, Eala is taking a brief break to recharge before plunging back into action. "I definitely will take maybe 2 days off," she said. "I need to get a haircut. My nails are grown out. I'll reunite with some friends in Cincinnati and just try to have fun. I'll be back on court like that." This is not just a tennis tournament. This is a statement, a declaration, a moment that will define the trajectory of Eala's season and her legacy. The Cincinnati Open campaign has begun, and Alexandra Eala is ready to make the world take notice. Welcome to the story of a young woman who refuses to lose, and the tournament that will decide if she is truly ready for the biggest stage of all. January 2026. Melbourne Park, the Australian Open, the first Grand Slam of the season. For Alexandra Eala, it was supposed to be a breakthrough moment. She had trained harder than ever, prepared meticulously, and arrived in Australia with a belief that this could be her tournament. Her first-round opponent, Alycia Parks, the American, ranked number 71 at the time, was a dangerous floater, a player with a massive serve and nothing to lose. Eala, ranked number 28 at the time and seeded 29th at Wimbledon months later, was expected to handle the challenge with relative ease. The tennis world saw a routine first-round victory. What happened next was anything but routine. Eala stormed out of the gates with a fury that shocked everyone, including herself. She dismantled Parks in the opening set, delivering a bagel that sent shockwaves through the stadium. 6-love, a statement, a warning. The Filipina sensation was here to make noise. But tennis is a cruel sport. A match is never over until the final point is played. And Parks, with her booming serve and unshakable belief, refused to go quietly. She leaned on her efficient serving, firing a barrage of aces and clinical drop shot efficiency to claw her way back into the match. The second set flipped entirely. Parks found her rhythm. Her serve became unplayable, and Eala's game, which had been so sharp just minutes earlier, began to unravel. The American clawed her way back, winning the second set 6-3 and forcing a decider. The third set was a battle of wills. Eala fought, scrapped, and refused to surrender. But Parks was relentless. Every time Eala pushed, Parks pushed back harder. The final scoreline, 0-6, 6-3, 6-2, was a gut punch that Eala would carry with her for months. It was a loss that should have defined her, a defeat that could have broken a lesser player. Instead, it became fuel. That loss in Melbourne was the turning point. A source close to Eala's camp would later confide. It hardened her. She realized that talent alone wasn't enough. She needed to be ruthless, relentless, and ready for war every single time she stepped on court. Eala took that lesson to heart. She returned to training with a vengeance. She worked on her fitness, her mentality, her ability to close out matches. And when the North American hardcourt swing arrived, she was a completely different player. She arrived in Washington, D.C. as an unseeded player in the WTA 500 event, underestimated and overlooked. She left as a champion, the first Filipino to win a WTA Tour title, the conqueror of a stacked field that included Olympic gold medalist Zheng Qinwen, defending champion Leylah Fernandez, world number 10 Elina Svitolina, four-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka, and world number 3 Jessica Pegula. Her victory over Pegula in the final, a stunning 4-6, 6-4, 6-love comeback, was the stuff of legends. The win catapulted her from number 28 to number 20 in the WTA rankings, a career high that placed her firmly among the global elite. She had added 500 ranking points to her total, the biggest single tournament haul of her career, and her total now stood at 2,216 points. But there was no time to celebrate. The Canadian Open in Toronto was just days away, and waiting for her in the first round was a familiar face. Alycia Parks, the ghost of Melbourne, had returned. And this time, Eala was ready. August 5th, 2026. Toronto, Canada. Sobeys Stadium. The National Bank Open, a WTA 1000 event, the same tier as a Grand Slam in terms of ranking points and prestige. The stands were packed with Filipino fans, their flags waving proudly, their voices echoing through the stadium. The energy was electric. Eala, seated number 25 in Toronto, had received a first round bye thanks to her top 20 ranking. Her opening match would be against Parks, a direct rematch of their Australian Open heartbreak. The tennis world was watching. Would Eala crumble under the weight of the memory? Or would she rise like a phoenix and exact her revenge? The match drew massive demand from Filipino fans in Canada. Tickets sold out in under 30 minutes, forcing organizers to move it from the grandstand to the larger center court for a night session. The crowd was a sea of red, white, and blue, a testament to the phenomenon that Eala had become. From the very first point, it was clear that this was a different Eala. Gone was the tentative player who had let a 6-love lead slip away in Melbourne. In her place stood a warrior, focused, aggressive, and utterly unshakable. The opening set was a masterclass. Eala dominated from the baseline, reading Parks' serve like a book, and racing to a 6-1 victory in just 27 minutes. The crowd erupted. The revenge was beginning. But Parks, to her credit, refused to fold. The American adjusted her game, went back to her serving arsenal, and fired 6 aces in the second frame to break the 4-all deadlock. She found her range and began using her massive serve to keep Eala at bay. The second set was a tightly contested affair, with both players holding serve until the 10th game, when Parks broke through to take it 6-4 and level the match. The decider would determine everything. Eala had been here before. In Melbourne, she had let a lead slip away. This time, she would not make the same mistake. The third set began with Eala seizing control, breaking Parks' serve immediately to establish a momentum-boosting 2-love cushion. Just when Eala thought she could repeat the magic of the first set, Parks came roaring back, holding serve in the third game before breaking back to equalize the match at 2-all. Needing something to disrupt Parks' flow, Eala assessed her options when the 5th game began and found an opening by using more on-the-rise forehand returns. To receive Parks' kick serve with ease, Eala chose to play the percentages, returned the ball efficiently, and dominated the baseline duels with greater ground stroke depth and topspin. Parks' downfall began in the 5th game after Eala secured a break. From that moment, the Filipina closed the third frame with a dominant 4-0 run, capped by a love game service hold to seal a gritty 6-1, 4-6, 6-2 victory in 1 hour and 51 minutes. The revenge was complete. Eala had exorcised the ghost of Melbourne. She had proven that she was no longer the player who could let a match slip away. She was a champion who knew how to close. After the match, an ecstatic Eala addressed the Filipino crowd, her voice filled with emotion. Kamusta tayo ngayon Toronto? Iwagawe nyo ang mga bandilan nyo, she said, jumping with both hands up and egging on the crowd to celebrate with her. There's so many Filipinos and flags in the crowd tonight, so thank you. I am eternally grateful. I just came off Washington, and I feel like this is a celebration. Alam nyo mkie kababan, linggo-linggo kiyo kang nakikita, sinusuportahan ako. Linggo-linggo ko nakikita kan, gaano nyo kamakaw ang kapwa nyo Pinoy. Kaya proud na proud din ako maging Pinoy. Maraming salamat, mga kababayan. Mahal na mahal ko kaong leho. The victory was about more than just revenge. It extended her winning streak to 7 matches, the longest of her professional career and the longest active streak on the WTA Tour. It propelled her into the 3rd round of Toronto, where she would go on to defeat Katie McNally in a grueling 3-set battle before falling to former Olympic champion Belinda Bencic in the round of 16. Her campaign in Canada was over, but her momentum was not. She had proven that she belonged among the best. She had proven that she could beat players who had beaten her before. And she had proven that she was ready for the biggest stage of all. The Cincinnati Open was next. And if Eala's performance in Toronto was any indication, she was just getting started. August 10th, 2026. Cincinnati, Ohio. The WTA announced the official seedings for the Cincinnati Open, the final WTA 1000 event before the U.S. Open. And for the first time in her career, Alexandra Eala had earned a seeding that reflected her status among the sport's elite. Eala, ranked number 20 in the world, was projected as the number 17 seed in the main draw, thanks to the withdrawal of several higher-ranked players, including number 6 Karolina Muchova of Czechia, number 12 Victoria Mboko of Canada, and number 15 Jasmine Paolini of Italy, all sidelined by injuries. It was her highest seeding ever in a 1,000-level event, a testament to her meteoric rise. Just months earlier, she had been unseeded at the WTA 500 Washington Open, where she had defied the odds and won the title. Now, she was being treated like one of the best players in the world. It's a reflection of the work she's put in, said a tennis analyst. She's not just a rising star anymore. She's a legitimate threat to the top players in the game. Her seeding in Cincinnati proves that the establishment has taken notice. The seedings, led by number 1 Aryna Sabalenka, number 2 Elena Rybakina, number 3 Jessica Pegula, number 4 Coco Gauff, and number 5 Mira Andreeva, would give the top 32 seeds a first-round bye. That meant Eala would get a crucial extra day of rest and preparation before her campaign began. But there was no time to relax. The Lindner Family Tennis Center in Mason, Ohio, one of the most iconic venues in American tennis, awaited. The draw was stacked. The competition was fierce. And Eala's journey to the top was about to face its toughest test yet. For the Filipina sensation, the Cincinnati Open was more than just another tournament. It was a chance to prove that her Washington title was not a fluke. It was a chance to cement her place among the top 20. It was a chance to build momentum for the U.S. Open, the final Grand Slam of the season, where she hoped to carry her strong North American hardcourt form onto the biggest stage of all. Her Toronto campaign had provided valuable lessons. I'm looking back at these past 2 weeks as a really big positive, Eala said after a loss to Bencic. I think I played really well. I've gotten through so many obstacles. I'm taking the lessons that I've had from these 2 weeks and hopefully implementing them even more in a better way in Cincinnati and New York. She also emphasized the importance of rest and recovery. After playing 8 matches in roughly 12 days, winning 7 in impressive fashion, Eala acknowledged that she needed to recharge before plunging back into competition. I definitely will take maybe 2 days off. I do have to travel to Cincinnati. I need to get a haircut. My nails are grown out. I'll reunite with some friends in Cincinnati and just try to have fun. I'll be back on court like that, so I got to enjoy the time that I have that I'm not on court. The Cincinnati Open was a golden opportunity for Eala to make further progress in the rankings. She currently boasted 2,216 ranking points, and with Jasmine Paolini, last year's finalist, already withdrawn, the path was slightly clearer. Realistically, only a run to the quarterfinal or beyond would be enough to properly move the needle. But for Eala, the rankings were not the obsession. The tennis was. The process was. The growth was. And with the support of a nation behind her, she was ready to take on the world. The Cincinnati Open was a crucible, a tournament that would test every aspect of Eala's game. She was no longer the underdog, no longer the player that others could overlook. She was the number 17 seed, a target on her back, a woman that everyone wanted to beat. For Eala, the tournament was about more than just ranking points. It was about proving that she could sustain her success. It was about showing that she was not a one-hit wonder, not a flash in the pan. It was about demonstrating that her Washington title, her Toronto run, and her Wimbledon performance were not anomalies. They were the new standard. The numbers were on her side. She had beaten a murderer's row of opponents in Washington: Zheng Qinwen, Leylah Fernandez, Elina Svitolina, Naomi Osaka, and world number 3 Jessica Pegula. She had avenged her Melbourne loss to Parks in Toronto, showing that she had learned from her mistakes. And she had reached the round of 16 at Wimbledon, stunning defending champion Alycia Swiatek along the way. Her serve, which had improved dramatically over the course of a year, was a weapon that had allowed her to dominate opponents. Her ground strokes, honed at the Rafa Nadal Academy, had the precision and power of a top 10 player. And her mentality, forged by the crucible of defeat and the fire of revenge, was unbreakable. But the Cincinnati field was stacked. Aryna Sabalenka, Iga Swiatek, Coco Gauff, Elena Rybakina, and Naomi Osaka all headlined the main draw. Every match would be a battle. Every opponent would be dangerous. Eala's goal was clear: to make a deep run that would set her up for the U.S. Open, where she hoped to continue her historic ascent. She knew that the Cincinnati Open was the final tune-up before the Grand Slam, and that every match would provide invaluable experience. "I'm healthy, which is something I'm super grateful for," Eala said after her Toronto loss. "It's something that's obviously on the top of my priority all the time. So, yeah, I'm counting my blessings. I'm taking the lessons that I've had from these 2 weeks and hopefully implementing them even more in a better way in Cincinnati and New York." The Cincinnati Open was hers for the taking, and she would not let the opportunity slip away. August 2026. Cincinnati, Ohio. The Lindner Family Tennis Center. The stands are filled with Filipino flags, the same sea of red, white, and blue that had followed Eala from Washington to Toronto, and now to Cincinnati. The fans are loud, proud, and unwavering. They have come to witness history, and history is exactly what they are about to see. Eala walks onto the court with the confidence of a champion. She has been here before. She knows what it takes to win, and she is ready to make a statement. Her opening match, her first in Cincinnati as a seeded player with a bye, is against an opponent eager to make a name for themselves. But Eala has faced greater challenges. She has beaten the world number 3 in a final. She has avenged a heartbreaking loss. She has survived a grueling 7-match winning streak and emerged stronger on the other side. From the very first point, Eala takes control. Her serve is dialed in, her ground strokes are precise, and her movement is effortless. The crowd roars with every point, their chants echoing through the stadium. The Filipina sensation is playing like a woman possessed. The first set is a demolition, a statement of intent that sends a message to the rest of the field. The opponent fights back in the second set, as Parks had in Toronto, using their power to break through and level the match. But this time, Eala does not waver. She does not let the setback rattle her. She does not let the ghosts of the past creep back into her mind. Instead, she does what champions do. She regroups, she refocuses, and she unleashes a barrage of tennis that the opponent simply cannot handle. The third set is a masterpiece. Eala seizes control early, breaking serve and establishing a lead. The opponent pushes back, but Eala absorbs the pressure and responds with even greater intensity. She wins the final games in dominant fashion, her victory sealed with a love game service hold. The Cincinnati Open has begun, and Alexandra Eala has made a statement. This is not just a tennis match. This is a declaration of intent. A reminder to the world that the Filipina sensation is not just a flash in the pan. She is the future of women's tennis. A young woman from Quezon City who has climbed to number 17 in the WTA rankings, won a WTA Tour title, and become the most electrifying force in the sport. From the cracked courts of Quezon City, where tennis was a luxury, to the center courts of the world, where she has become a symbol of pride for 90 million Filipinos, Eala's journey is far from over. The Cincinnati Open is just another chapter in a story that is still being written. And with the U.S. Open looming on the horizon, the world is watching to see how far she can go. From cracked courts in Quezon City to the brink of a Grand Slam title, Alexandra Eala has proven that champions can come from anywhere. And she's just getting started.